My name is Daniel. I was a single father who raised my son Ethan after his mother passed away when he was just a baby. I sacrificed everything: my education, my youth, my dreams, to give him a life full of love, stability, and dignity. I dropped out of college to take care of him, something I never regretted. I worked 2 jobs for over a decade, construction by day and janitorial work by night. I didn't have vacations, I didn't buy new clothes, and I didn't go out with friends. I was too busy being both his father and his mother. We didn't have much, but we had each other. Our apartment was small, but it was filled with warmth. I still remember the nights we spent studying together under a flickering kitchen light, solving math problems on scraps of paper because we couldn't afford notebooks. Ethan had a hunger for learning, and I did everything I could to feed that hunger. I bought used textbooks from thrift shops, borrowed DVDs from the public library, and turned every walk into a science lesson. He was brilliant, focused, determined, and kind-hearted. All those years of effort paid off. Ethan got into a top-tier university on a full academic scholarship. I worked overtime to buy him a decent laptop, and I remember crying when I dropped him off at the dorm. He hugged me and said, "I'll make you proud, Dad." He did. He graduated with honors, landed a job at a top consulting firm, began living the kind of life I'd always dreamed for him. A few years later, Ethan called me to tell me he was getting married. His voice was full of joy. He told me her name was Clara, and that she came from an affluent, well-educated family. He was nervous about introducing me, worried that our background might be seen as less than, but I assured him, "Son, love conquers all." The wedding was extravagant, held at a grand estate with glittering chandeliers, polished marble floors, and live classical music. I wore my best suit, one I had carefully kept for years. My shoes were polished, and I wore the same tie Ethan had gifted me at his graduation. I was nervous, but proud. As I arrived, I noticed something unsettling. People were whispering, casting side glances. I chalked it up to nerves. But when I got to my table, my heart dropped. Instead of a nameplate that read, "Father of the Groom," mine said, "Educated Fake Dad." My hands trembled as I picked it up, hoping I had read it wrong. But no, it was deliberate. I looked around in confusion. Then I heard the muffled laughter. Clara's family and their high society friends were pointing at me and chuckling. One woman whispered loudly enough for me to hear, "I thought he'd be more ... refined." Ethan was seated at the head table. He wasn't laughing, but he wasn't standing up for me either. He looked down, ashamed, frozen. My heart shattered. I had worked my whole life for this moment, to see my son happy, to be embraced by the family he was marrying into, and here I was, being humiliated. I stood up quietly, straightened my tie, and began walking out. Tears welled in my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. I would not give them the satisfaction. Just as I reached the doors, I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was Ethan. "Dad, please, don't leave. Let's go home. I can't do this without you." For a moment, I just stared at him. I saw the little boy who used to fall asleep on my chest after bedtime stories. I saw the teenager who called me his hero, and now I saw a man torn between 2 worlds. I nodded. We left the wedding together in complete silence. The violin music faded behind us. The guests didn't say a word, and Clara, she never followed. The next morning, I woke up expecting to feel empty. But what happened shook the foundations of Clara's world. Ethan had written a heartfelt email, not just to Clara and her family, but to every single wedding guest. In it, he poured out everything. He told them about me, how I raised him alone after his mom died, how I worked night and day, how I gave him everything without asking for anything in return. He included photos of Uzme holding his hand on his first day of school, our kitchen study sessions. His graduation day with me in the crowd beaming with pride. He wrote, "That man is my father, my real father. He gave up everything to make me who I am. If you mock him, you mock me. If you look down on him, you look down on the values that made me." He publicly broke off the marriage. He returned all the gifts and sent a formal notice to Clara's parents saying he would have no part in a family that disrespected the man who raised him. The email went viral. Major news outlets picked it up. The headline read, "Groom walks out after father is insulted at wedding son's letter melts hearts across the nation." Thousands of people flooded our inboxes with letters of support. Other single parents reached out. Even celebrities retweeted Ethan's letter. One day, he got a call from a CEO who had grown up in a similar situation. The man offered Ethan a job at his company, saying, "We need more people like you, people with backbone, with loyalty." As for Clara's family, they weren't so lucky. The backlash was swift. Investors pulled out of their company. Clients left. Their pristine public image crumbled. They were forced to issue a public apology, but the damage was done. No one forgot what they did. Ethan moved back home for a while. We'd sit on the porch in the evenings, talking like we used to. One night he turned to me and said, "Dad, I want to start a foundation in Mom's name for single parents who are doing it all alone like you did." I couldn't hold back my tears. I hugged him tighter than I ever had before. That moment made everything the years of struggle, the loneliness, the sacrifice worth it. I wasn't a fake dad. I was the realest one there, and now the world finally knew it too.